Welcome to Training Bytes, everyone. Glad you could attend. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A window on the top of your Teams toolbar, and there's a chat window. I like you to use the Q&A, but if you don't see a Q&A, then obviously use the chat window. I will answer any questions you have at the end of the session. My name is Gina Thomas. I'm the training manager here at C&K Systems and your hostess for Training Bytes, a digestible approach to counterpoint training. And joining me today is Marty Katz, project lead here at C&K Systems. Hello, Marty.
Hello, and good morning or afternoon, as the case may be.
And I'm so glad your phone is working better. So some of you have probably had a situation where a customer comes in and they want to take merchandise with them, but pay for it later. Send me a bill later or send me a statement later. Or maybe you have a lot of associates that like to purchase from your store. And instead of taking money from them right away, they want to charge it and maybe pay for it once they get their paycheck. Or maybe you have businesses that buy from you. And instead of coming in with their credit card, they want to come in, get the merchandise, have you send them a bill later. Which is why we are going to talk about accounts receivable today. Now, there is an official accounts receivable module that's purchased separately, and some people who don't want to pay for it try to somehow manipulate Counterpoint into managing these type of purchases without AR, and it just turns into a mess because no one's really sure who owes what. There's no way to easily check a balance that's owed, and there isn't a way to age accounts or assess finance charges or run statements inside a Counterpoint without that module. So the subject today, obviously accounts receivable. We're going to talk about setting up an AR customer, setting terms, finance charges, credit limits, taking a payment on account at point of sale and outside of point of sale. And also we'll take a look at account management where we can view and adjust balances. So just some basics about accounts receivable. It is sold separately. It's $190 per license. So if you have 2 Counterpoint licenses, it's $190 times 2. The nice thing about accounts receivable is that if you choose to assess finance charges, you can, and it's definitely an asset in driving business, whether it's your customers, your associates, or B2B. Now, some of you may already have AR and just not know it, so it's easy to check. If you go to Setup, System, Registration, and you look over on the right-hand side, and you see the Receivables box is checked, you have accounts receivable. You can also check your license count here. It's under the user count on the left. So I have 10 licenses, which would mean if I didn't have accounts receivable, it would be 190 times 10. When it comes to customers, there's a flag on the customer record at the top called customer type. This is where you designate either somebody that's a cash customer, or if you have AR, your other choice will be to make the customer an AR customer. And once you do make a customer an AR customer, you'll notice that the customer record gets a lot of extra fields. There's a field to define a credit limit if you like. There's a field where you must select a terms code because it's required. There's a field to specify the finance charge if you care to choose finance charges. And then there's a required field for the AR account. Even if you're not using an accounting program, Counterpoint requires something in this field, and the default account is 1210. Something I recommend if you do have AR is to add AR values like the AR balance and AR unposted balance to things like your lookups, your table view, your zooms, so that your people can easily look up balances for your AR customers. And if you do have to customize using your column designer, don't forget to save as the default. When you take a payment at point of sale, or one of your associates do, there are 3 different methods that you can use to take that payment. The one I like the best is called automatic. It means take the amount of money the customer is giving me for a payment on account and automatically apply that payment to the oldest charge. And if there's any money left over, then apply it to the next oldest charge. And if there's any money left over after that, apply it to the next oldest charge. Nice and simple and straightforward. However, some customers might come in and say, hey, that charge from 3 months ago, I'm disputing it, so I don't want to put any money towards it. I want to pay for a charge I did 2 weeks ago. So your sales associates could select specified and select a specific document to apply that payment to. Or you might have this situation. Customer comes in and says, I've got multiple charges with you and I want to pay on most of them or more than one of them. So then the sales associate can select multiple and the documents to apply the payment to. We'll take a look at that later when we get into the software. Outside of point of sale, there's something called a cash receipt. It's under customer's cash receipt. Or if you go to customer's account management, you can generate a cash receipt from there. And you have the same choices, it just looks a little bit different. You could take the payment amount and auto apply it, apply it to the oldest balance automatically, next oldest if there's money left over. You can select a particular document by going into the document lookup right here, or you could select more than one document to make a payment against, and that's called select docs. There is a limitation to a cash receipt. The only payment types that you can accept in a cash receipt are cash and check, whereas if you take a payment at point of sale, the customer can pay by cash, check, or credit card. If you need to make an adjustment to the customer account, whether it's a debit, maybe they bounced a check and you're going to charge them $25, or maybe it's a credit, you overcharge them or you double charge them, or they just had a sad experience. So under customers account management, you can create an adjustment, or you can use customers adjustments. And again, this is for upward or downward adjustments to their AR balance. Now, account management, I like it's kind of a one-stop shop. Account management is most helpful for AR customers, but your regular customers will show up in here as well. And the account management, especially here on the main page, gives you this nice little graphic of, is the customer current? Are they 30 days past due? In this case, my customer is 90 days past due. It shows you a balance, what they currently owe, any unposted balances. And within account management, you can look at every AR document ever created for the customer, any unposted AR documents for this customer, all orders and layaways, all holds and quotes, and all ticket history, even if they're not AR related. And that's why I say this is good for your non-AR customers as well. For like a cash customer, there's not going to be anything under AR documents or unposted documents, but you can always go look at the layaways, holds, quotes, and ticket history. And you'll notice here at the upper right, you can also add an adjustment or add a cash receipt right from account management. And again, we'll take a look at that in a few minutes. Then there's something called open credits. An open credit can happen a couple of ways. The most common way an open credit happens is a return to AR. So whether you're doing a return item or you're doing a validated return, if you charge it to AR, it becomes an open credit. There's no mechanism at the point of doing a return where you can tell Counterpoint, hey, this is going to be an AR credit, apply it to XYZ document. It just does not exist. The other reason why you would have open credits is somebody takes a payment and instead of selecting a document to pay against or documents, or instead of selecting automatic, somebody checks the open switch or selects open, which just means that at the end of the month before you run statements, someone's going to have to deal with that open credit. Before you run your statements at the end of every month or the beginning of the following month, this is the sequence you need to follow. Apply your open credits, run the aging report, calculate finance charges if you charge finance charges, and then run your statements. So pretty straightforward. All right, let's go take a look in the software at all this. So I'm going to just start off by looking to see if I have AR registered in my system. So again, I'm going to check to make sure I'm licensed. Setup, system, registration, and you can see I am definitely registered and I have 10 licenses. So if you have accounts receivable checked, you're ready to go. Nothing you need to do. Now I want to just look at a customer record just to show you a couple of things about cash customer versus AR customer. So I'm just going to go to customer, and I'm going to select a cash customer. If you have an existing cash customer and you want to change them to AR, it's super easy. You unlock this field on the toolbar if you have access to it. Only usually system administrator types have that. Unlock, and then come over here to customer type and choose AR. And then you get all these extra fields. So again, you have to populate the terms code. Something has to be there. You have to populate the AR account code. And if you don't remember that it's 1210, in the lookup, just type accounts and you'll have your choices. And obviously accounts receivable is what we want. So now this customer is ready to charge to AR. Now, it doesn't mean they always have to charge to AR. Sometimes AR customers do want to pay cash or they want to write you a check or give you a credit card. But now they have the ability to choose between those forms of payment or AR. When it comes to existing AR customers, let me choose one here. Here is Ken. I've got good old Ken in here. If you have an AR customer that is charged at any point in time, you cannot change an AR customer to cash. Now, if you have an AR customer that has a zero balance and they have never charged to AR, you can change them back to cash with that drop down. So what if you have an AR customer and they're kind of a deadbeat and you don't want them to charge anymore and you can't change them to cash because it's just not available? If you come to this tab called AR Info and uncheck Allow AR charges, then this customer will no longer be able to pay with AR. And then what I'd like you to notice about this customer record, if you look over to the right, the lower right, you'll see there's an unposted balance and a balance. So if this customer were to purchase something right now, that would be the unposted balance. And then when I post my sales at the end of the night, that unposted balance will add to the existing balance. And then my suggestion was, if you do have AR, I'm going to say yes to that. If you do have AR, configure your lookups to show the balance and unposted balance. Configure your table view to show the balance and unposted balance. And then by default, when you zoom, you should see a balance and unposted balance. But if you don't, customize the zoom. And remember, any customizing you do, you have to save it, or otherwise the columns and all the customization disappears. So we're going to notice that Ken, I'm going to go back to Ken here because he's got a nice even balance, easy to remember and track. So Ken has a balance of $200. I'm going to go ahead and charge something to AR, and then I'm going to show you how that updates the customer record. So let's close out of here and let's go into point of sale. And I'm going to choose Ken. Now, usually you have a button over here for customer lookup. In case you didn't know it, right at the top left where the customer number field is, you can actually do a lookup from here as well, just by clicking on that field. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my lookup. I'm going to find Ken. Ken says to me, hey, what's my balance? Oh, well, it's $200, Ken. And if I didn't see it here, I could zoom in on it and tell Ken, oh, you owe us $200. Okay, great. I'm going to make a purchase. Not a bad balance. So I'm just going to go ahead and sell Ken some, let's say some golf balls, a dozen golf balls. And now I'm going to go to the payment screen. I'm going to pay with AR. I'm going to click OK, and it's done. Okay. Now that $33.29 is considered an unposted balance because I haven't closed for the day. I haven't posted my sales for the day. And if I take a look at my customer lookup and I look for Ken, there's my unposted balance and my balance. And then at the end of the day, when I post, my balance will increase by $33.29. The customer record gets updated immediately. There's no 10-minute lag or anything silly like that. So if I go into the customer record and I find Ken, I can see my unposted balance and my balance. And I can also see it down here, unposted and balance. I'm just going to go ahead and post the sales so you can see how the balance updates because it is instantaneous. So normally you're not going to ring an AR sale and then go and post. You're going to wait till the end of the day to post. So we're going to pretend it's the end of the day and I'm doing my posting routine. And I'm probably going to have to close out a point of sale in order to do that because otherwise Counterpoint's going to get mad. Can't leave your touch screen open while you're posting in case you didn't know. I'm just going to go ahead and post everything. And done, done, and done. Now let's go take a look at the customer record, which is updates immediately. You can see for Ken, the balance is increased by the $33.29. I can see that right here on his customer record. And then if I go to that cool place called account management right here, I can see the same information and more. So I'm going to bring up Ken here. I get a fancy graphic here. I can see the balance here. I can look at his contact information, AR information, all documents created for Ken that are AR related, unposted AR documents, and all orders, layaways, quotes, holds, and the entire ticket history, even if the ticket was paid with another tender. So this is pretty nice as account management. I like it. Now next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a payment on account inside of point of sale. So I'm just going to log back into ticket entry and put in my credentials. If you ever get this message, activate means, you want to count the drawer because you're getting this message because the drawer hasn't been counted or activated. Auto activates means open the drawer with no money. So I'm just going to open my drawer with no money and make this a little bit bigger. Do a customer lookup for Ken. There he is. Oh, you owe us $233.29. Okay, now Ken wants to make a payment on account. So I'm going to go to More. I'm going to go to Customer Functions, Pay on Account. And I have to reselect Ken. Then I can see his balance is $233.29. And my choices are Open, which I don't recommend because that just means more work for somebody else at the end of the month. Automatic. I'm going to choose Automatic. The pay code can be cash, check, or credit card. I'm just going to use cash. And I'm going to say, Ken wants to make a $20 payment. Now, if I leave it at automatic, that $20 is going to go towards the oldest charge. And if there's any money left over, then the leftover money will be applied to the next oldest charge. But maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe the customer is disputing some charges. So if I choose specific, and it's going to be that same $20, then I can go into the document number lookup and I can choose a document to apply that $20 to, and then the leftover amount to another one. Multiple, I can see all charges for this customer, and I can take a few dollars of that 20 and apply it to one ticket, and another few dollars and apply it to another ticket, or I can apply it all to one ticket if I like. And then if you want to keep track of what you've taken as far as, allocation of payment, let's say I don't know how to add. If you click on this, it'll tell you, so far you've taken $11. So those are your choices. Automatic, which I recommend, specified in case there's a dispute, multiple because the customer wants to pay on more than one charge. Now, what if I want to take a payment at my customer service desk because I don't want to leave this to my sales associates to take care of? The limitation of a cash receipt again is cash or check only. So if I go back to the main menu in customers, I have cash receipt here and cash receipt enter. And this is what it looks like. Or I can go to customers and account management and pick cash receipt here. And it's the same screen. And no matter which method you use, whether it's through account management or cash receipt, it's the same process. So I'm going to find Ken and do a cash receipt for Ken. So I'm going to go to add cash receipt, give the document some type of number, choose how Ken is paying, again, only cash or check, how much Ken wants to pay, let's say $50. And then here on lines, I can auto apply, take the $50, apply it to the oldest document first, take the leftover money, apply it to the next oldest, or I can select the documents he wants to pay against, and even more than one if I like. Or I can go into this document lookup and select a document to pay against. And the Counterpoint cleverly knows I only have $50 to spend. If for some reason it comes up with, maybe the full amount of the ticket, you'll get a message that you don't have enough to pay for it and you'll see a negative difference here. Just highlight the line and just fix it. Easy enough. And then make sure you post when you're done so that the balance is affected. I'm not gonna post that. Okay, so that's payments at point of sale, payments through a cash receipt outside of point of sale. And I've had this question before. So when I do a cash receipt, how does that affect my end of day reporting? It doesn't, because you didn't take the payment inside of point of sale. So that cash receipt is not going to show up on your drawer summary anywhere, or your sales history report, or your ticket history report. It's just the cash receipt is kind of going to be on a standalone report. Now, what if I need to make an adjustment to the account, whether it's an upward adjustment or a downward adjustment? I can go to adjustments, customer adjustment, enter. Here's what the screen looks like. Or I can go to customers and account management. I'm going to find Ken here. And I can add adjustment here. Same screen, follows the same rules. So no matter which method you use, we need a document date, we need a document number, and then whether it's a credit memo or a debit memo. I never use the finance charge or ticket. There's just better ways to do that. But a debit memo to increase the balance. So this debit memo is going to be for a bad check. So bad check fee is $25. My account, I'm just taking the default of 1210. Debit memos, please don't leave them open. A good rule of thumb, and this is something Marty taught me 100 years ago, debit memos should always be self-applied. It's just a standalone charge, like a bounce check fee, that's going to increase the balance that this customer owes. And then when you're done, you're going to post. And now the customer balance increased by $25. Oh my goodness, I made a mistake. It wasn't Ken that bounced a check, it was someone else. Ooh, I better credit Ken's account. So I'm going to add a cash receipt. I'm sorry, I'm going to add an adjustment, give it a document date, a document number, but this time I'm going to leave it at credit memo. Okay, I'm going to credit Ken back $25 to account 1210. And again, we don't want to leave it open. The only reason you would ever leave a credit memo open is that the customer has a zero balance. So if you are giving a credit memo, please choose document and choose a document to apply the credit towards. In this case, it was towards that $25. And if you put a reference down here, it will show up in that lookup, refund for bounce check. And even on the first one that I did, the first debit, I could have put a reference of bounce check in that field. Okay, and then when you're done, be sure to post. I don't need to see that. And so now the balance is immediately updated. So again, there's no delay, no waiting. It's all nice and fast. The next thing I'd like to talk about are the open credits and show you what that does to a customer balance. So again, let's remember that Ken has a balance of $233 and change. I'm going to log into point of sale. And I'm going to choose Ken. And we can see that $233.29 is what he currently owes. But Ken's going to do a return. And it doesn't matter if I use a return item or a validated return. I'm going to use return item because it's a little bit faster. So I'm going to click on return. I'm going to select the item that's being returned. Let's say he's returning these golf balls. Okay, then I need a reason. I'm configured to require a reason. Now, when I go to the payment screen and choose AR, there's nothing that pops up that says, where do you want this credit to go? Counterpoint's going to take the $33.29 and make it an open credit. So I'm going to click on OK and yes and close. Now, let's go look at Ken's record. Whether it's the customer record or through account management, either one is fine. So look at it's unposted. So he's got an unposted balance of $33.29 and a balance of $33.29 or $233.29. So I'm just going to go ahead and post the sales real quick.
Hey, Gina, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt, but I'm going to bounce. They're a little bit overwhelmed. So I'll check back in a few minutes, but if not, I'm sure you got this.
Adios. See you later, Marty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and post the sales. And again, you don't post just because you did a return to AR or a charge to AR. We're just going to pretend it's the end of the day. So for demonstration purposes, I'm posting. And now let's go look at the customer record. So notice the return did reduce the balance because now my new balance is $200. But let's go look in account management because we'll see kind of the same story, but a little more information. So the balance is $200, so that's great. Now, if I go to AR documents, I can see there's an open document. And you might say, well, so what? The balance is correct. So what am I worried about this open document for? It's really for the benefit of your customer and to not confuse them. So if you don't apply your open credits, I want to show you what a statement looks like. So, oh yeah, the balance is correct. I'm just going to go ahead and send Ken a statement. So I'm just going to go to reports and I'm going to go to customer statements and I'm going to find Ken. And I'm going to preview. So we can see all of Ken's charges. Boy, he's been really busy. We can see all of Ken's charges here. We can see the correct balance of $200, but here's where it gets confusing to your customer. They see an open balance on the statement. And so some people will interpret that as, well, I owe $200 less 33, which is not correct. Their balance is truly $200. So before you run your statements, you want to process all those open credits. Super easy to do. Many ways to process open credits. When you want to apply open credits, I like to go to account management. So I'm just going to go to customers and account management. I'm going to find my customer. Good old Ken, there you are. See how there's an apply open credit button down here? This is how you can apply open credits through account management, or you can actually apply them before you run your statements. There's an apply open credits right here. Or maybe before you age your accounts, there's an apply open credits right here. Or even if you go to finance charges, there's an apply open credits. They're all over the place. And then there's also a standalone utility called apply open credits, and it looks the same everywhere and it behaves the same. So when you're applying open credits, if you don't filter for a customer or customers, Counterpoint's going to analyze your entire AR database, all your AR customers. It's going to find any open credits for all your customers and automatically apply them to the oldest balance. Now let's go to account management for a good demonstration on that. So even though I'm looking at Ken's customer record, when I come down here to apply open credits, Counterpoint isn't looking at Ken. Counterpoint's looking at all my customers. So if you only want to apply open credits for a single customer, you have to come here and then you have to choose the customer. I'll just preview this for now so you can see, oh, look, there's an open credit. I want to apply it. And I'm going to apply it to the oldest balance, which is this 120 balance right there. So it's nice and straightforward applying the open credits. It's very easy. But then we have that situation where somebody says, I have an open credit, but I'm disputing that older balance. So I don't want you to apply my open credit to that disputed charge. So right here on the AR Documents tab, the radio button right here is set to group by apply to, so I can clearly see my open credits. But by default, this radio button is checked, group by document. So I don't obviously see my open credits unless I go through here and expand all these plus signs to find it, which is kind of a pain. So anytime I'm looking for open credits, I like to group by apply to. If I don't want to see zero balances, I would uncheck this switch, which kind of unclutters the screen. Here's my open credit. So now I have to figure out what credit number it is. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, and it's number 100721. So in order to take this specific credit and apply it to a specific document, I'm going to have to group by document again. I'm going to have to find my open credit, which is down here. There it is. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to click on Reapply AR Document, which is kind of like a weird name for that button. Then I'm going to click on Reapply. Now, when you get this pop-up, use previously entered applications, you want to say no. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? Then I'm going to go to Lines, and I'm going to pick the document that I want to put this $33 against. So I'll just pick this one right here, $33.29. Why not? Okay, and it comes up with the exact amount. And then when I'm done, there's no posting when you do apply open credits, but you do need to save. So now you can see if I group by apply to, my open document is gone. And then here, this pretty much looks the same. But when I go look at the balance, it still says $200. But now when I go to run a statement, it's not going to have that open balance showing on the statement to confuse the customer. So now if I look at the statement and go to the bottom, you can see there's nothing here that's confusing. So at the end of the month or the beginning of the following month, and you know, I get a lot of freakouts towards the end of the month. Oh my God, it's the end of the month and I'm not going to be at the store to run my statements. That's fine. That's fine. Just wait until you get back into the office. You can always age as of the end of the month, the previous month, run your statements as of the end of the previous month. So at the end of the month, here's the routine. You apply your open credits, which I've already done, age the accounts, calculate finance charges. If you like, you can look at the finance charge report through an edit list before you post it. Then you're going to post your finance charges and then run your customer statements. So I'm going to start with customers, reports, aging, and I'm just going to age it as of, the 1st. Now I'm going to preview it. And so there's my aging report. The only thing this aging report does is it lets you know how old the balances are, and it updates that fancy graphic in account management. That's all it does. So let's say by accident, you ran this like in the future. You weren't paying attention. So now when you preview it, it's going to look like I have a lot of customers that are past due. It's going to update that graphic in account management, and it's all going to be wrong. So no worries. If you accidentally age incorrectly, just come back and redo it. It's that simple. So now when I preview, now everything's good. Nothing's, 90 days past due. So the kind of weird thing about the aging report is you would think there'd be a button like that says like age, but just by virtue of clicking on preview, do you get the report with the aging periods based on that age as of date? Okay, so now I've done my aging. Next, I am going to finance charges. So under customers, finance charges, calculate finance charges. I'm going to give this a cutoff date as of the beginning of the month. So finance charges for anything that was charged in September that's been posted. I'm going to preview it. Here's what it looks like, who's getting charged a finance charge. And then when I'm done previewing that report, I can click on create to actually create the finance charge, or I can come back later and do it. And then later I come back and I say, who is going to get charged a finance charge? So I would just come here to the edit list and go ahead and preview the edit list, which there's nothing here because I didn't create the finance charges. I did that this morning too. Let me just go ahead and age this and click on create. Okay, now they'll be in the edit list. So do you want to create the transactions? Yes, I do. Do you want to look at the edit list? Nope. Oh, gee, I changed my mind, I do. So now I can just go here, look at my edit list. These are people that are going to get charged a finance charge. And then finally, I need to post my finance charges. So I'm going to go to finance charges post, answer yes. You can look at the report again if you like. It's the same report. And so now I am ready to run statements. So I'm just going to go to customers, reports, statements, and I'm going to run my reports for the beginning of September through the end of September. And so again, if I just go to preview, I'm going to get a statement for every single customer, which is really probably what you want when you're running your statements. So I'm going to click on preview. Here we can see there's a statement for my friend Bill. Here's one for Acme, and on and on and on. Statements can be emailed. There is a switch on the customer record about emailing statements on the AR tab, and you have to be configured to use email, but you can email your statements. Okay, that's accounts receivable. Let's go back here. So hopefully from this session, you've learned about changing the customer type flag on a cash customer to AR, or even building an AR customer. You just have to make sure that that flag customer type says AR. How to take a payment on account in point of sale, outside of point of sale, and how to look at account management. And actually you can take actions in account management, like adjustments and cash receipts, and viewing history, and viewing current documents. Okay, at the end of the week, by Friday, you're going to receive a link to the recording. You may share that link with anyone in the organization. There will also be a survey. We appreciate your feedback Any topic suggestions from 2025 would be appreciated. If you feel like filling out the survey today, www.cksystem.com/training bytes survey. If you want custom training tailored to your business, your data, not my golf store, give me a call. Main number 888-476-7911 extension 3, or you can email me training@cksystem.com. So next month we're going to talk about offline ticket entry, just in time for Christmas, by the way.
Woot woot.
I know most of you have offline ticket entry, but a lot of you don't use it all the time or only use it when your server goes down. You really need to test offline ticket entry from time to time. Now, some of you run in offline all the time, so you know it's working, but some of you don't. So if you're that type of operation that has offline, but you don't run in offline all the time, at least once a week, test it. And it's very easy to test. Anyways, Marty is going to present next month. He's very good at offline ticket entry. He's going to talk about what it is, benefits and limitations, your daily processes, testing, and how offline works, what you don't see behind the scenes. So make sure you join us November the 6th for offline ticket entry. Get all prepared for Christmas. And with that, I will take questions.
And Gina, I don't see any questions in the queue, but let's see, let's check the chat.
Oh, Ken, I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen Ken Hall in a long time.
So then he needs to ask a question. I don't see anything in the question in the Q&A.
And I don't see anything in the chat.
All right. Yeah.
I think we're good. I'm
I'm
looking at really old ones.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that I mentioned this morning about the apply open credits.
Oh, I meant to mention that. Thank you for reminding me.
It is not at all unusual to get an error, especially the first time. If you've been using AR for a while and you go to apply open credits, it's not unusual that it'll say, hey, you've got some issues here with these tickets. And generally that's about, first of all, one of the things is debit transactions that were not self-applied that will throw an error. And the other thing is tickets that are overpaid. So if you take a payment and you apply it to an invoice, but you only have $100 worth of, you take a check for $120, but you only have $100 on the ticket and you apply that, it's going to throw an error later on when you go to apply open credits. And you got to try really hard to do that, but it can be done. So just don't be surprised or think that it's really something tragic. You'll get the error message, you'll call support, we'll take a look at it, and hopefully it'll be just a few minutes and then you'll be able to apply those open credits.
Or the other hilarious part of that, sometimes when that error comes back, it says, I'm going to try and fix this for you. Is that okay? And then you say, yeah, go ahead, Counterpoint, fix it. Counterpoint goes, you need to call support.
Yeah.
So just log a ticket. We'll help you out. Get you squared away. All right. Thanks for remembering that, Marty. Okay. I remembered your B2B though.
Yes, you did.
I know. I just forgot the open credits thing. Okay, everyone. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you attending, and hopefully Marty and I see you on November the 6th.
Woohoo! Y'all have a good afternoon.
See you. Bye.